Hey there everyone, hope you're having a good day. Today I'm going to present a interesting slideshow with the Zoom G1.4 and the G1X4 with pedal. I own both, and I'm going to present a slideshow where you'll see the presets from the factory. This is a factory preset scroll through or slideshow comparing the one with pedal and the one without pedal, how different the parameters are for each patch. Now let me explain something. The patch names for both G1.4 and the G1X4 are named the same except for one, but I'll get to that once we get to that later. But in the PDF documents they post up on the site, you can print out the preset names, and I believe it has a description on them. But they have one each, one for G1.4 without pedal and G1X4 with pedal. At first, when I had a first glance at the two printouts, all the names and descriptions were the same. That's what I thought. But then I took a closer look at the presets side by side for each preset and noticed there were quite a bit of difference between the unit with the pedal and the unit without the pedal. So just for my own curiosity, I put together a slideshow with screenshots of the Guitar Lab software showing the parameters alternating between the G1.4 and the G1X4. And again, these are factory presets and the factory parameters. I'm just doing this as an exercise for my own entertainment, I guess. But most of you are, of course, going to edit these patches and create new patches and overwrite these patches. So I'm just doing this for my own curiosity's sake. And at first, I'll go through a couple of point out some interesting differences in some of these patches I kind of noted down there as an example. And then after I go through some of these interesting examples, I'm going to let the slideshow go by itself without any talking so that it'll be recorded, and then you can stop the video and stop it at any point and note the parameters and watch the interesting differences between parameter settings for the G1.4 and the G1X4. So mouthful saying G1.4 and G1X4 a lot in these videos, but anyway, okay, on to some of the differences I've seen. Okay, here's our first patch, 1.0, Marshall high gain. And as noted on upper left-hand side, this is the device, the G1.4 without the pedal. So see all the parameters, the details and dial settings. These are all from the factory. Even all the mics haven't been turned on. And I talked about that in another video. But anyway, here's your listing of the effects. And again, you're only able to have 5 effects in the chain per patch. Okay, let me jog on over to the G1X4 parameters for this patch. And they're the same. Nothing has changed. But as we do the scroll through or the slideshow, you'll see the difference. And I guess I'll mention something about the clipboard. I produced or created and edited patches on this particular Guitar Lab software, and this is loaded on a Mac desktop. And I plugged in both G1X4 and G14 and found an interesting difference in that if you create a clip using the G1X4 with pedal, it'll post up the clip if you save them. But then when I plugged in a G14 and made a clip, I noticed that when I plugged in the other device, the opposite device would gray out. So this was one down here that you can partially see on the lower right is clip number 4, and I created that on a G1-4 without the pedal. But clips 1, 2, and 3 I did create on the G1X4 with pedal. So you'll see these alternate. I'm not going to change anything on the clipboard, but you'll see these alternate between G1-4 and the G1X4. So that's kind of one interesting thing I found out about the clipboard. But anyway, yeah, one interesting example was the comparison of patch 1.0 Marshall high gain, and they were both the same. I'll click through both, toggle through both again. G1.4, G1X4. Same chain of effects and same parameter settings. And as you notice, the left-hand side grayed out depending on which device is posted up on the upper left-hand side. Again, I'll show that to you, and you'll see that. Concentrate on the clipboard side, and you'll see what's grayed out and what's not. See, this is clip 4 that I created for the G1.4, so it's active, and you can manipulate it. But these clips 1, 2, and 3 I created on the G1X4, and so they're grayed out. But then once I plugged in a G1X4, these came active. 1, 2, and 3 clip came active, and clip 4 was not active. Okay, so I had something on patch 1.5.5 that was a little bit interesting. We'll check that out. Like I said, I'll do a slow scroll through without any talking after I go through some of these examples. Okay, I found something interesting on this patch 1.5. I guess it's a Bogner Ecstasy Blue with a gold drive. And on the G1.4, look at the effects chain. You have the ZNR noise reduction, zoom noise reduction, a gold drive pedal, and your Ecstasy Blue Bogner, and a Bogner 4x12 cabinet. And it's got a guitar EQ with 7 slider adjustments. So those 7 slider adjustments take up 2 effects windows. So note that, and this is for the G1.4. Let me click on over to the G1X4, and there's going to be quite a difference. So you don't have a graphic 7-band EQ on the G1X4 with pedal. You know, what they did here is instead of the graphic EQ, they put a volume pedal in here. Since you have the pedal on the G1X4. And also, you know, it's a pedal pedal effect when you see a P on the left-hand side. So that was one of the ones that had a major difference. So let me see, I had something on 1.7 that I noted, patch 1.7. Let's click on over to that, see what goes on there. Okay, so Randy Train, Randy Rhoads type of preset. And let's see, what are the differences? Okay, this is one where the effects chain is the same, the list, effects chain, and the parameters, they're both the same. But I just wanted to point out there are some patches on factory patches that don't have a cabinet and mic, so you won't have to deal with the turning on, switching on the mic or on off parameter with a cabinet in the effects chain. So some of these effects don't have cabinets, and you'll see it when we do the slideshow. Okay, and then the last one I'm going to show before the slideshow is patch 2.8. That's okay, this is the one patch. I had a video, separate video on it, where I didn't notice it at first, but now with the more thorough comparison, the name of the factory preset is different depending on if it's a G1.4 without pedal and a G1.4 with pedal. So patch 2.8 is the only patch that I've seen so far from the factory that has a different name. So for the G1.4 that doesn't have a pedal, they, I believe, have a, it's an auto wah effect. Since you don't have a wah pedal, they have an auto wah effect in place. And then when we go to the G1X4 2.8 patch, it's called pedal wah. And this one has the black wah pedal. And it's the pedal where you can adjust it with your foot sweep. Okay, so I think those are some of the interesting ones that I've seen. So let me scroll on way back to the beginning, and I'm going to stop talking, and I'll probably say something at the end of the video or something like that. But anyway, I'm going to start this thing back way at the beginning, and I'll do the slideshow without any talking, and you'll be hearing from me towards the end of the slideshow. Hey there everyone, I'm back. So I hope that was interesting going through the factory preset and comparing them alternately side by side between the G1.4 and the G1X4 with pedal. And I hope you learned a little bit about what's going on with the clipboard. I have another separate video showing more about the clipboard. But anyway, I hope this helped out or was of interest to you. And I'm just kind of starting my channel, and I appreciate it if you subscribed, liked, and if if you want to donate to help me improve the channel through my PayPal links, I could use a dedicated mic and a camera and a tripod and be able to make better videos and hopefully make them shorter too, so that I'm not talking too much. Okay, that's it for today, and we'll see you later.